Hey guys, long time no see. This is in plain sight. Just thought I'd take some time to do a weekly analysis for y'all. This is something I might start doing again, and I think it might be beneficial. Just, you know, this is my point of view, my opinion on the market. It's not financial advice. And the way I view the market is ICT style. So it may resonate with those of you who like to trade his style, smart money style. Either way, it's all about liquidity. And yeah, so let's get into it, right? So why don't we just take a look at the weekly chart on dollar here, and just kind of look back at what's happened so far this year in my mind. So this is January. Yep, that's the first week of January there. Early in the year, we were moving a little bit, but actually it was more like a consolidation for a few weeks until we finally took out equal lows. At that time, it was equal lows, and that was a failed sort of breakout of the consolidation, and it reversed. We then proceeded higher, taking out the liquidity from basically the resting liquidity in the market into a monthly volume imbalance. If you look at your monthly chart, you can see that's what we were reaching for. Go back to the weekly, sorry. And from that point, we failed. Okay, so you can see this retracement into this price like expansion, okay, as a return to premium, and you will want to see this as internal liquidity. So this raid was an internal raid within the context of this expansion leg lower. Okay, sorry, it's a little jumpy with the mouse here, but of course, we didn't know for sure that it would, well, never mind, forget that. Yeah, so this was internal within the context of this leg, right? And so if you go to the daily chart, once we saw that raid happen, followed by the shift in structure that occurred there, okay, we were bearish. Okay, this market was clearly bearish. Okay, and then it was extremely clearly bearish after this. Okay, so what I'm saying is, why was it bearish, right? Some of you may be confused here. The reason it was bearish, in my point of view, is because we took this internal liquidity, right? So smart money, right? They take on shorts to willing sellers, right? They're gonna need to get out of those shorts, right? Well, where's the liquidity and the point in time from this backwards, right? Where is the liquidity? Well, the lowest existing kind of resting exit liquidity is down here in the form of the external liquidity, right? So of this range that we retraced, understand? We retraced this leg into premium. We're going to go back to discount to drop off that liquidity. And that's what we ended up getting. So let's just continue. After that happened, you will either see the market continue aggressively or it'll react strongly, and that is what happened. Okay, so if you're wondering, why did it react so strongly off of this low, it's because that was the external liquidity point. And that's just something for you to test, find out for yourself if it's useful or not. But that's how I view price. Okay, so then we consolidated for a while, and we started to finally break out of that consolidation. Now, let's go to the 4-hour chart. As you can see, we were in consolidation for way too long. It was really a pain in the ass, to be honest. And I thought we might take out this level, right? But we didn't. We left equal lows. And it's always hard when they leave equal lows because you're like, well, I don't want to get tricked. Maybe this raid will fail or maybe this raid will fail. But then eventually it just expands aggressively. And once price starts forming fair value gaps, breaking structure like this, it's kind of, it's more likely that it's going to just continue. And it's more likely that it's going to reach for an objective before it would ever reverse and come down here. So at this point, from, arguably earlier, but clearly to us, from this point forward, price is definitely bullish. Okay, order flow is definitely bullish. There's nothing here that's bearish. Okay, like even when it retraces, it's just retracing an expansion leg. Okay, to fill in fair value, right? This is a fair value gap, right? So we continue bullishness, and in fact, we're still bullish. Okay, we are absolutely still bullish on dollar. Now, here's where it gets quote unquote difficult, right? Because this it may be, and I don't know, it may be that similar to how we had this big retracement, that this move up is just a retracement of this leg. It may be, but I don't know that. Nobody knows that. I don't think anyone can know that. We just have to wait and see. So I personally expect it to continue going higher, but if it were to take out these levels with displacement, right, start expanding lower, then I would expect us to come here, here, and then we might even finally go for those equal lows. But that is a really big, that requires a whole shift in order flow from here. I personally think we'll just keep going higher, even if only, to previous week's high, which is, we're pretty close to that anyways, right? There's additional gaps, and we'll just have to see how the week goes. Now, in terms of what I think next week will do, we're in the kind of place where we're kind of in equilibrium of this big range. So everyone knows, or should know, that that's typically where you'll see consolidation. I would expect a choppy week, but all that being said, that's just looking at dollar. If I go over to the pound, get rid of some of my annotations here. If I go over to GU, okay, I'm seeing we retraced into this monthly fair value gap, right, which is this, right? That, and then we failed hard, and we still have all this liquidity that hasn't been tapped yet. So I expect GU to go lower. I just feel like its job isn't done yet. If it were to reverse from here, I wouldn't like that personally. I'd really rather see it take this liquidity, or at least the previous week's low. So that's why I'm saying, I expect previous week's low, at least, just to get the next week started. But I'm not gonna force it, right? So how would I go about trading that? Well, from here, what I would look for is either we take out Friday's high with a raid, okay, or we kind of displace lower, break this low, okay, and then I would look for something on the lower time frame to go lower. Those are kind of the two things I'm looking for. In terms of longs, nah, I wouldn't look for a long from this personally. Although it could go higher for sure, but just something. Anyways, I guess I'll turn off my thing here. Okay. How about the euro? What are we seeing here? Well, the euro, it's just heavy, dude. It's just heavy. As far as I can tell, this thing hasn't reached any sort of significant level to turn around in terms of direction. Meanwhile, what it did do is it took out liquidity 1, 2, 3 times, right? Or it did a 3 drives higher and failed. So, it could really go a lot lower. It really could. If it were to turn around here, I would be surprised. That's all I'll say. You know, I hate to sound like one-sided, but I do feel that a lot of markets look like they want to go lower. So I wish I could kind of quantify that for you guys and make that more kind of mathematical, but this is just how I'm seeing price, how I'm seeing liquidity. Now, let's take a look at the Aussie dollar because it's a similar situation. How should we look at it? Let's just look at it in terms of, so if you see these orange boxes, these are always fair value gaps, just so you know, and the W is weekly. Let's look at it in terms of this range. Okay, this range came down, and then we rated the high of this range. And now we drop back down inside of this range. Okay, so where's liquidity? It's here. Liquidity is there. That's external liquidity. Okay, and then you can look at the 4 hour. You can see there was the raid. So this is your YouTube model, sort of. There's no fair value gap retracement really to show you, but you know, equal highs, raid, and huge displacement lower, followed by a return into premium just to take out the stops and to dip into fair value, right? That's what you want to see. Whenever you see a raid, you want to see it raid a level into fair value. That's what makes it fair value, okay? My opinion is whenever price, there is no liquidity until liquidity is engineered, right? So people always say fair value gaps hold liquidity. I don't think so. I think that raids into fair value gaps for our sort of engineering liquidity in the fair value gap, and then that's what makes it useful. Personally, that's how I see it. So, right. Anyways, continuing. We rated that into the gap and then ran to the short-term external, right? Then we came back up, took out a short-term high, and you know, I still think we can go lower. You know, it's a low resistance liquidity run to go lower. The other markets are suggesting continuation, and this isn't bullish enough yet. Now, I could be wrong, as I said before. If we displace above the high from Friday with like strength, and like if, you know, it might look like it's a raid, but then it continues and then starts closing above, then I would expect us to go back up into this gap. But then we'll just have to watch it from there. Okay. So for now, you know, I don't see this as a shift. I see this as a raid. But it's a bit of a wait and see kind of thing. New Zealand's interesting. New Zealand dollar. Because we had this rate of this. Okay, so what's the lowest point between the two? It's here. So that's external. I'm not saying it's going to go there, by the way. It can, though. We returned all the way up into premium with a raid into a gap. Exactly what I was talking about a second ago. And as far as we can tell, it looks like it's failing. Now, it's not for sure because we bounced, you know. This could also be seen as like a raid of the low and then it goes higher. So we want to wait to see that displacement lower. If we get that, I'll really be looking for price to go lower on New Zealand dollar. Okay? Maybe to these levels. Continuing dollar CAD, I don't know because it's got this horrible triangle thing and I just don't know. I don't see anything that I like, which makes sense because oil is also consolidating. So screw it. Now, dollar yen's really interesting to me right now. So we retraced this leg and then ran up to the external point, which is this green line, into a monthly fair value gap. It can turn around. Now, it's still bullish. Again, it's still bullish. It's a suitable level to turn around, you know, to retrace. Ultimately, I'm not going to say it's bearish, okay? But it's just something to watch, you know. Really, the easy trading on dollar yen was last week, the last 2 weeks. That was the easy trading. What did we do? Weekly volume imbalance right here, okay? So I have that marked with the box. I'm going to go to the daily. We retraced, we tested that weekly volume imbalance again. We broke structure higher. Yellow lines are usually structure breaks for me. You see the displacement? From that point on, we're looking to enter on raids. Okay. Or taps into fair value like this one here until we reach this level. And then we're a little bit unsure. Okay. Alright, let's keep going. Gold. Yeah, I'm not so sure on gold. Like, I don't even want to give any opinions on it. Platinum, I could see going lower. It's a seasonal sell right now. We took out this high. We tried to come back up again. We took out the intermediate high, okay, and failed. Like, we really failed with displacement, okay? So that's a real failure for me. I'd love to see this thing raid Wednesday's high and then fail from there. If it fails, I'll be looking to go short down to this level, 1042.9. Why that level? Well, it's the lowest point between these two. I mean, I'll probably get out before that, as I usually do, but that's what I'd be looking for. And like I said, it's seasonally bearish, and it could be a bigger swing trade, but I don't really have the... Well, if it gets down here, it'll probably keep going, to be fair. But in terms of what I would do, I guess I just have to manage the trade and take profits along the way. Copper, I also think is bearish. I mean, it is bearish. Just like no freaking argument against it. We expanded. We've been consolidating. That's normal. Expansion, consolidation. Want to see a raid on the high into the fair value gap. And then a failure on something like the 15 minutes. And then I would expect it to go lower. If it just drops from here, that's fine. Nothing I can do about that. My model requires a raid there. Okay. Oil, don't know. Indices. Indices are weird for me. Luckily, ICT talks about it. Although, admittedly, I don't really listen to what he says, analysis-wise, because I have, what do you call it? I've been weaned off of the ICT nipple for a long time. So, anyways, in terms of liquidity, yeah, I don't even know what to say, man. It's just been so bullish. We had this consolidation, right? We had this consolidation underneath this external level. We finally took that liquidity, but we took it into that weekly imbalance, or volume imbalance, right? Or void, the weekly void, and we failed, which I shorted this, and then I cut it too early like an idiot. But so long as we stay down here, this could really turn bearish. I mean, there's you want to see it as like a consolidation breakout failure, okay? That's something that Linda Rashke talks about a lot, and she's freaking awesome. She's been doing this for 40 years, longer than ICT. But anyways, consolidation, raid, failure. If this thing really fails, I would expect us to go for this liquidity here, and then possibly even lower. But it's hard to say that because at the same time, NASDAQ is just super bullish, and it doesn't have a similar kind of situation at all. I see no reason for this thing to turn around. So I'm really, really hesitant and careful with indices right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see what I just now said, not play out at all. And so I just kind of scalp the indices. I honestly haven't been trading them a lot. I don't know why. I mean, I could just dollar it, probably because dollar's been really clear, to be fair. And so then I'll be trading the euro. But that's about it. Those are my pairs that I'm actually good with. I'm not good with Bitcoin, so please take this with a grain of salt. Ultimately, still bullish to me. Looks good. We just took out this liquidity into the gap. We have all of this to go still. It's all one-sided. still. So, but the thing is, Bitcoin's just really finicky, and I just, this scared me out, right? Like, even though it's, everything seems right about it, it's just so fucking scary. So, sorry for the bad language. Anyways, that's 20 minutes. 10 minutes if you watched it on 2x speed. Good for you. So, hope that helps somebody. I'm sure you have lots of questions. I'll try to do more of these more frequently. I want to be there for the community, over the years, I think. I mean, I don't know, it's a big promise, but I think that there's a little more positivity that's needed in this community, and I would like to contribute positively. So, anyways, hope you guys had a good weekend, and take it slow, take it safe this week. Don't force anything. Have a model. Trust your model. If you don't have a model, get one. But keep studying, and we'll all make it. Bye bye.